Hello, my brothers and sisters, and welcome to Reverend Hagen's Horrific Cinematic Dissection. As always, I'm your host, Reverend Hagen, and as always, I'd like to welcome our listeners at SCRMradio.com. That's Scream. Radio.com for all your horror and paranormal needs. Now, today we're going to be looking at 2020's Underwater, written by, and I want to get this right, Brian Duffield and Adam Kozad, directed by William Eubank, and starring Kristen Stewart, Vincent Castle, T.J. Miller, and Jessica Henwick. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to blow off this movie simply because Kristen Stewart is in it. Now, here's the thing with me and Kristen Stewart, all right? I loved her in the indie films that she was in before Twilight. And then she got Twilight, this franchise movie that went banana balls, right? Now, you can't tell me if you were a young actor and you were offered a part in a franchise film that already had a huge base because of the tween novels that it's based on, that you wouldn't take that role. And then all of a sudden her life's under the microscope, and she was kind of an idiot. Sorry, Kristen, but you were kind of an idiot there for a while. Now, I think you can blame her for the last remake of Charlie's Angels. It wasn't a horrible movie, and it tipped the hat to the previous two movies. I guess that's a good thing. And she wasn't horrible in it, but it wasn't great. Sorry, Kristen, but it wasn't great. This particular movie, though, she's really good in, and it's worth a viewing, and I'll tell you why. This is one of the best Lovecraftian movies I've ever seen. It's really hard to pull these movies off, in my opinion. It's really hard to take a Lovecraft story, an H.P. Lovecraft story, and translate that to the screen. Now, recently we've seen it in The Color Out of Space, which I have not seen yet, very sadly, but it's gotten fantastic reviews. And this is another example of it. This movie takes place in one of the giant trenches in the ocean. The premise of the movie is that, and no spoilers, I promise you here, but just to give you the premise, it takes place 6.9 miles below the surface with a huge drilling platform that goes from the bottom of the ocean to the surface of the ocean, 6.9 miles down. The first minute of the movie, we're losing focus, there we go. The first minute of the movie, every time I put my hand up, is the place starting to implode, and Kristen Stewart running for her life. I have to say, very quickly you meet a couple of survivors that were really good, and Jessica Henwick's one of them. You meet T.J. Miller, who is hilarious in a very believable human way in this movie. He's not as over the top as he's been in some movies like Deadpool, and I think it was the Christmas Party. But you know, he's great. He was great in Silicon Valley too. I think he was in Silicon Valley anyway. But he's fantastic in this movie in a very believable, kind of comic relief way, because the tension is thick. They're trying to get to escape pods that are in another facility, like a mile away at the bottom of the ocean, and they have to put these special suits on and blah 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 blah. Will they make it? Will they not? There's the tension. But there's some creatures that they encounter, and I'm telling you, for somebody who's claustrophobic too, like myself, watching these kind of movies where they're trapped underwater or in a cave, it's definitely my brand of vodka, because it gets my heart pumping. The creatures in it are top-notch. Special effects are top-notch. Everybody in it. Vincent Castle, you can't go wrong with this, in my opinion. You can't go wrong with this guy. He was phenomenal in Brotherhood of the Wolf. He was incredible in Eastern Promises. So it's got a great cast. You really only see 5 people total the whole movie. But it's definitely worth a watch. And that is why, my brothers and sisters, I give this movie 2 desiccated and decomposing thumbs way up. Don't miss out on this one. If you get a chance to see it, I know we're all quarantined right now. Well, not quarantined, but self-imposed social distancing. And follow those guidelines, for God's sakes. But if you can somehow stream it like I did, it is so worth it, I can't even tell you. That's it for this edition of Reverend Hagen's Horrific Cinematic Dissection. Hope you loved it. Be sure to keep it tuned to SCRMradio.com. That's Scream. Radio.com for all your horror and paranormal needs. And until next time, this is Reverend Hagen wishing you all a truly, terrifyingly terrific day.